from today, we will start Module 2, Java Servlets and JSP. So that is the foundation of Java Web Technology. So here we start from the foundation of Java Web Technology. So why this foundation? Yeah. All the advanced Java Web technologies are built above this servlet and JSP. Actually, servlet is at the very bottom. JSP on top of servlet. So then they work together to support all the other Java Web technologies. All right, so let's start. Part A, Java Servlet Basics. Now, I haven't shown you any servlet example at this point, but in this Thursday, our in-person class number 3, we will create our first servlet. A very simple example. Something like Hello World, but this time I will use the servlet to do that. All right. Part 8.1. First view of Java web application. Yeah. We did one. Remember in our in-person class number 2, I did one. I did a very simple Java web application. Yeah. Here, let us study the basic structure of it. Structure of a simple web application. Here, I give you general description of a Java web application. Yeah. All the main components. With this kind of basic knowledge, then you can understand many examples. All right? Yeah. Our first Java web application, here, let us assume the development deployment environment is ready. Eclipse, yeah, the setup environment is ready. So we use here, we are talking about Eclipse. EE, yeah, let me use this EE version. Yeah. Java EE perspective. So you know what I'm talking about, right? When I explain the configuration, I talk about, what perspective you should choose. Yeah, here, so we assume we already get ready. Yeah. All right. Then, first step, create a simple web project. In Eclipse, remember, what do we do there, right? We create in Eclipse, we create a dynamic web project. Yeah. Here, this is one of the commonly used ways, but later I will introduce you another way, another very important way, very popular way. Yeah. So after we get the midpoint somewhere, I will bring that another method. All right. Next step, create a Java package for servlets. In order to write Java code, you need to do this step, Java package. By default, after you create a project in dynamic web project, you don't have it. The wizard, the Eclipse wizard, it does not generate this Java package for you automatically. So for that reason, we need to create it manually. Yeah. So we need to create it manually. Yeah. In our third in-person class, I will show you how to do it. I will do it in class. You can do with me, yeah, in class. Yeah. All right. Next step, create a servlet skeleton class. How to create a servlet? Yeah. In Eclipse, there is another wizard. So we can use that. We create a servlet, but it's a skeleton class. Empty code, but we have the basic structure of the servlet. You need to fill in the detail business related code inside that skeleton code. Yeah. So that's the next step. After that, configure the servlet. Do configuration. So what do we mean the configuration? Configure, you need to tell Java web server, here Tomcat, you need to tell Tomcat how to process this servlet. You need to pass some important information to Tomcat here. So that's the configuration. Yeah. Here I put two methods, explicit and implicit. Yeah. Two methods. Explicit, the first method, implicit, second method. Explicit, you need to put the configuration code there. Somewhere. So where, here I let you know. You need to put the configuration code in web.xml. Web.xml, we call a configuration file. Or deployment descriptor. Yeah. We also call it deployment descriptor. Okay? Special name, deployment descriptor, this web.xml. Yeah. The most important file in Java web application. Yeah. It is very important. Yeah. All right, that's the explicit. So you see the configuration elements we use. Yeah. So I will give you that part in my servlet example. I will show you how to do it. All right, that's the explicit configuration. But there is another implicit configuration. Implicit configuration, that is, the detailed configuration part is omit. It's hidden. You cannot see. But internally, inside the Java web server Tomcat, that part will be generated automatically. Yeah. But you need to do something. You need to do the minimum. You need to do minimum. Yeah. To tell the server how to configure this information by passing some most important information, the minimum. Yeah. So what's that? The minimum. Here we do annotation. Annotation way. You just add annotation in your Java servlet code. In the annotation, you tell Java web server, Tomcat, what is the servlet name, or what is the URL pattern, and so on. Okay, things like that. Yeah. Just passing the most important information. All right, in the annotation. Otherwise, the server does not know how to use your servlet in the corresponding to the right request, right? Yeah, servlet is used to handle special requests, right? So server needs the URL pattern for that. Yeah. So we will see that detail later. We will get there. All right? Yeah. Okay. So two configuration ways here. Yeah. We will practice both of them, and then later we will compare. Yeah. All right. So here, in this line, I overwrite. All right, so in this line, you can see, I still keep that. You can see we need to provide servlet name, URL mapping, pattern, here pattern mapping, for mapping, URL we need to do mapping, all right, etc. Sometimes we need to put some parameters, that's why etc. Some more information we may need to put there, all right, that's this step. Next step, then compile the servlet. Java code, you need to compile it, right? You need to compile it, But in Eclipse, this step automatic. So you do not realize the compilation. It happens immediately. After you click the save button, it gets compiled immediately. Behind the scene, you don't see it, but it is compiled. Okay? So the compilation step, we never worry about that. But if you have compile error, if you have any compile error, Eclipse will mark some error cross red sign to let you know you need to fix it. All right. Then the last step, run the web application. You know how to run it. In class, I show you, right click the project node, then after that select run as, in server, then select Windows. Later, when I create videos for in-person class number 2, I will talk about, a lot more details there. Okay, I haven't created videos for in-person class number 2, so I will do that quickly. You will see that. All right, so that's the, the basic structure. All right, Okay, so later we will see all these details in a simple example, Java servlet example. All right, so next I want to talk about welcome file a little bit. So now you should know the meaning of welcome file, right? In a Java web application, the first file that our users visit when they come to get to this location, this web application, this location in the server, the default file used to start your web application. That's the welcome file. All right. So now let's look at the role of a welcome file. Now, for a web application, what is the first file to visit? All right. For a folder in a web application. So here, think about our web application is at the root, right? Remember, last time I give you the concept name called context root. This concept corresponds to your web application, your whole web application. So there is a root. Okay, that's the starting point. After that root, you may need to go to some branches, right? Several branches. And those branches represented by folders. So each branch corresponds to one folder. Okay, the path, the folder. So then, when our user visit each folder, then you can consider another welcome file needed inside that folder. Okay? Welcome file. Because what is the first file to bring up in that folder, right? So that is the welcome file we need. Welcome file we need in each folder. Okay? And for this one, we also may need a welcome file, right? So each individual folder, we may need a welcome file. How about that? So things like that. Okay, so you may have the situation like this diagram. Yeah. All right. So that's the second case. Yeah. All right. So then set multiple welcome file. So remember in our in-person class number 2, I show you in the web.xml, we can set a list of welcome files, right? Yeah. In when I create the video, I will talk about that more there. All right. Yeah. Next one, difference between a physical file and a logical name for a welcome file. Physical file. So here you can see we have two concepts, physical file and a logical name concept. Logical name. Yeah. Physical file, it's easy to understand. You see the file name, yeah. There is a concrete file there. But there is a situation, we don't have a physical file, but we have a resource associated with URL pattern. URL pattern. URL pattern. Yeah. So later we will understand this concept better. Yeah. Here it looks like the a little abstract understanding this concept. URL pattern. You see it. Yeah. When you type URL, you see that pattern in your URL. All right. But that pattern does not correspond to a concrete file in your Java web application. That's what I mean, URL pattern, okay? In that situation, we call it logical name. Because by logic, you see its name, but you don't see a concrete physical file corresponding to this name. No physical file corresponding this logical name. Yeah. So that's another situation. Yeah. Here, difference between physical file, logical name for a welcome file. This issue, let me delay a little more. Yeah. After we learn more knowledge about welcome file, then I talk about this issue. Yeah. Because this issue is a little more deep. Yeah. So let us delay a little bit. All right, so let me finish our first video, 8.1 of Module 2, our first view of Java web application. All right, yeah, that's it.